Here we go.
Sure.
Perfect. So welcome back, Creatures of the Night, to another watch along with my good friend from Twitter, Randy Turco, as we continue a look back at the Undertaker's Tag Team Championship victories. And we return from a hiatus from the Ministry of Darkness days as we get the first tag team victory as the American Badass, as the Undertaker teams up with his unlikely partner, The Rock, to take on Edge and Christian on an episode of Monday Night Raw. So any words before we get started, Randy, about like what was going on at this time? You know, what have you researched and stuff that's going on for the Undertaker and The Rock at this time?
Yeah, it's good to be here again, by the way. I watched the whole episode. I'm sure you probably did too. I just like to do that to get a feeling of what was going on back in the day in December of 2000, because it's been 21 years. And the whole episode, I should have counted how many segments they were. Well, the whole episode was dedicated to Vince and Linda McMahon's divorce. And, you know, Vince wants a divorce. And now Linda is so shocked by this. She's now catatonic. And she is having a nervous breakdown and can't run the WWF anymore. And so I can't tell you how many segments involved Vince during the show, but they were all entertaining. They weren't bad. Mm-hmm. It was just like the Vince show. And I was thinking that this was probably going to be, when I saw the date before I started watching, I thought, oh, December 18th. So this is probably going to be the go-home Raw before Armageddon 2000 with the 6-man Hell in a Cell. And then as they were talking, as I watched this match, I watched this Raw, the whole episode, I realized, no, because of Christmas, this is actually 8 days after Armageddon 2000. So the he's just had 2 straight opportunities at Kurt Angle's WWF title at Survivor Series 2000. He had him one-on-one. And then Eric Angle, of course, interfered. And that was the Gold Pants pay-per-view. That was a good one. And then the 6-man Hell in a Cell where Angle kind of escaped by the hair of his chinny chin chin, and he kept his belt. So 8 days after Armageddon, I did notice when I watched this episode of Raw, this is they're promoting Mick Foley's Christmas Chaos kids book. I don't know if you remember that, but that was a blast from the past.
Oh my God.
Right. And they showed XFL commercials. So the XFL is going to start in 2 months. In February of 2001, the XFL has their one and only original season. And I think they tried the XFL again last year, right, during COVID, and then it was snake bitten by COVID, and they had to shut it down again. So,
right, McMahon has no luck with the XFL.
Yeah, they should just bury the XFL. I watched a little bit of that first season. It was different. It wasn't bad. It was just different, and then it just never got off the ground, and they canceled it. And then 2020 was 2020. So. And then they did I noticed that JR was plugging the WWF cookbook with JR on the front. I didn't know if you remember that.
I remember that.
Yeah, so that was just some of the goings on in December of 2000 in the Federation. And that got me thinking, The Rock and The Undertaker win the tag belts tonight. We're about to watch that match. You know, when The Rock, for our last pay-per-view, Undertaker and Big Show beat Rock and Sock. They had a name. They were the Rock and Sock Connection. So I thought, as I was kind of preparing for this side and watching this Raw, I was thinking, why don't the Undertaker and the Rock have a cool name? Like, why didn't they ever have a cool name? I mean, I know it was only a week that they did this, or 4 days, or whatever it was, but why didn't they get a cool name? And so I went through and I tried to think of some of my best cool names, and it was a little harder than I thought. And I think I found out why they didn't come up with a name, because there is no cool names for Rock and Undertaker. And if you got one, Steven, you got to tell me. And if anybody on Twitter has a cool name, they got to put it out there too. I tried to think of some like Rock and Sock. So I was thinking, how about one of them I had was Stone and Bone. But
oh, it's nice.
That's suggestive. They may not want to use that one, because I was thinking Stone like The Rock and Bone like dead people, bones, but it kind of has a different connotation. So maybe we don't use that one. How about I came up with Grave, and that Grave and Gravel. So if you add an L to Grave, you got the grave like the Undertaker, then you have Gravel like The Rock. And I'm like, I don't know, Gravel. You don't really think of The Rock. So I thought, okay, how about elbow and backhoe? Elbow and backhoe. Get the people's elbow, and then you got backhoe, burying people alive. So maybe that doesn't totally rhyme, but the last one is maybe the best one, and that's not saying a whole lot. Smackdown and Sundown. How about that?
Sundown. Ooh.
It's hard. The answer is they don't have any good names for Undertaker and Rock. I don't know. I told Alex on Talking Taker, I said, I'm gonna put Steven on the spot and make him come up with a cool name for this tag team.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, because oh my gosh.
And I had time to research, and that's as good as I could come up with, by the way.
I mean, I'm trying to think of something like.
Maybe this is why it didn't get off the ground.
Yeah.
They were like, we can do a whole 6-month run with these guys.
Yeah, it is hard.
Right.
You know what? I can't believe you're putting me on the spot in this one. Oh.
Right. Maybe by the end of the episode, let's go through the match. Maybe it'll get your creative juices flowing. And then by the end, see if you can think of something that beats SmackDown and Sundown.
That's going to be so hard to beat. So hard to beat.
Maybe Twitter will help us too. We'll put it out there. Maybe Twitter will help us. In the meantime, I did dress for the show. Again, I got the Undertaker 2004. If you can see, it says Deadman. Yeah. 2004 football jersey. So he had the baseball jersey that said the Phenoms, which I wore that to SmackDown this summer. And then I never planned on buying the football jersey because I don't think it's as cool as the baseball jersey. It doesn't really say anything on there. But somebody posted it on eBay, and it was a medium, and it was in good condition.
Yes. And
it was like $25. And I was like,
how did you get that? That is awesome.
And I'm like, I'm not planning on it, but I can't pass that up. And it's in good condition. So football jersey it is.
Football jersey it is. Oh my God.
The other addition I got is also weird. I have that Undertaker door knocker, that says can't come to the door watching wrestling or whatever it says.
Yes.
So I found the Undertaker has a bookmark.
Oh my God. It is so hard. It is so hard to find paper items.
Right.
Always hits the mark.
Yeah. Coliseum home video always hits the mark. And then Undertaker on the front. So that'll go in my decalf next to that door knocker. But that was, I think this was $10. I mean, this wasn't much either, but cool. Yeah. Loved it. So no figures this time around, but those were my two things: were a random bookmarker and a random football jersey. Nice though. Nice.
Any leads on your Adrenaline Undertaker with the red shirt or your Hall of Champions Undertaker? I know those are the two on your radar.
No, not yet. I do have the ticklers going though. Nice. I've seen a couple of Hall of Champions, but they're all like $100, $100, $80. I'm like, man, just hoping we can do a skosh better than that. I know it won't get much better, but just a little better.
Yeah, I mean, if you may get lucky if someone has it like a nice condition loose, since you can open it anyway.
Right. Yeah.
You may get lucky there. I know sometimes they pop up.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple where the packaging was still in the packaging, but the packaging was all ratty and beat up. And I was, I don't care. I'm going to open it up anyway. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
And you may see people maybe more inclined to lower the price on that. So hopefully.
Right. Yeah. You never know. I think if you just kind of hang out, and it's like fishing, like we talked about, it's like fishing on eBay. It might take 2 years, but eventually you'll get a $25 deal ski,
Right. That's nice. That's something about t-shirts. I'm always on the fence. Like I want to get some, but it's like, then I don't know where to stop. And it's like,
right.
And it's like, I have too much out there on my radar. T-shirts is like a whole nother game.
Some of those shirts from like 91, 92, I mean, they go up for like $600, $1,000. I mean, they're crazy because they're his first couple of shirts, Sure.
Yeah, but if I was trying to look for like getting ready for this, I was like looking for a badass shirt. I was like, I'm looking for a small. I'll take a medium, something like that. But it's like when I want it, there's none. I'm like,
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, I was thinking like, well, I won't have anything new. I'll have to dig something out of my closet for the show next month. And then lo and behold,
See,
at Providence, it showed up.
Right. It heard you. It heard you.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm still trying to think of a good name for the Undertaker and Rock.
We'll buy you more time. Watching this Raw as it pertains to the Undertaker. So the whole story with Undertaker is that, you know, Angle is put in a match defending his title tonight against Vince McMahon by face Commissioner Foley.
That's right, because right beforehand is Vince saying, Angle, you know, just lay down for me.
Right. Yeah.
Right beforehand, just lay down for me. And Angle's like, no.
Yeah, Angle's super paranoid because he's like, either A, I have to beat up this old man, or B, Vince has got something up his sleeve and he's going to steal my belt. And he said, I don't need any more enemies. I just had a 6-man Hell in a Cell I got out of. I don't need any more enemies. So he asks his friends, Edge and Christian, because they're Team Ec, right? Edge, Christian, Kurt. So he asks his friends, Edge and Christian, hey, you guys are friends or acquaintances with Commissioner Foley. Can you go get me out of this match with Vince McMahon? So Edge and Christian go up to Foley's office with Lieutenant Commissioner Deborah, who I forgot about.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and they try to talk him out of the match. And Mick Foley says not only is Kurt Angle still going to wrestle Vince McMahon, but for bothering him, now Edge and Christian are going to be defending their tag team titles against The Undertaker and The Rock. And it seems like Mick is picking two names out of a hat. Like he's thinking of the two biggest face superstars that he could think of and just slamming them together. That's the way he kind of said it anyway. It was The Undertaker and The Rock. And of course the crowd pops. So Edge and Christian have to face SmackDown and Sundown for the World Tag Team titles. And
you are really sticking with that one.
And I noticed too, I don't know if you caught it, but they did show The Undertaker right before the match starts here. We're queued up at 45 minutes and 20 seconds. They show The Undertaker doing a shadow boxing, one of his world famous shadow boxing. Like they would show him backstage shadow boxing before his match. And I don't know if that was the first one or not, but that was the first one I've seen in a very long time. And it's December of 2000. So it's got to be one of the first ones where they show him back there getting his groove on, getting ready to fight. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And then Rock comes up to him, right? Because I was like forwarding and I think I saw that.
Yeah. Yep. So that's our storyline going into the match.
What a convoluted time.
Right.
You got everything. You got Vince divorcing Linda, going for the championship against Kurt Angle, Foley with Lieutenant Commissioner Deborah making Undertaker and Rock go for the tag titles. What a time to be alive here, really.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm being an old man saying like back in my day, everything was so much better. But like I'm watching this thinking like this was a nice little, even with all the Vince segments, this is a really nice little story for one night that they put together just to get to the main event and then the end result, which we'll talk about later. But like this is a nice little thing. I wish they could do more of that now. You know, and maybe that's just the grandpa in me. Like my day was so much better than now. Maybe in
Your
20
day's
years,
my day.
Right. That's what I mean. Like maybe in 20 years we'll look back on 2021 and think like, yeah, it wasn't so bad. I don't know.
No,
you know?
No, it's bad.
No,
it's bad. Even I, who rarely watch, it's like it's bad.
Right.
Yeah. But as you said, we are queued up at 45 minutes, 20 seconds for me, 19 for you. So in a difference of 1 second.
It's the time zone. Yeah.
It's the time zone. That's right. Well, let's get started. Maybe they'll say something in commentary that'll jar my memory into making some kind of cool name.
Right.
So I am ready. So we will 3, 2, 1, play. Of course, Edge and Christian out first, you know, because you got to have the big entrance of Rock and Undertaker.
They are heel skis here, and they're also kind of new because they're not coming through the crowd, right? They're coming down the aisle.
Yeah.
And that yellow shirt that Edge has got on, that totally reeking of awesomeness yellow shirt, that's another shirt I regret not buying. It's right up there with that 2011 white Punk shirt. I wish I would have bought that one, and I wish I would have bought that totally reeking of awesomeness Edge and Christian shirt.
Yeah, because it's not black. You saw a lot of wrestling shirts with black, and these off-color ones are, popular.
Here comes the Undertaker. I looked this up too, Steven. He's coming out to Rollin.
Yep. I think Armageddon was the first one with Rollin.
Yeah, and when they first did this, I thought this has got to be a dub over. This has got to be American Badass still. And I did some research on it, and you're right. This is not a dub over. This is Rollin premiered at Armageddon 8 days prior. So this is one of the first times he actually came out to Rollin.
Oh, a little something there. Undertaker stops to high five somebody in the crowd.
Nice.
Yeah, you don't hardly see that.
He's wearing that Deadman Inc. shirt. I have that shirt upstairs.
And a beanie that just says dead.
Right. I don't think they ever sold that. I think that's just something he picked up. I think. That sign that says Dead Man's Row, that's pretty cool. I didn't actually catch that last time.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. It's like the Cesaro section, the C section, Dead Man's Row. Yeah.
The C section. Yeah, that's funny.
Here comes The Rock, who really didn't have any interviews. He didn't have any backstage segments other than that quick one with The Undertaker. He didn't really have anything. I don't remember him having an interview.
It's just like you said, like they pulled a name out of their hat and said, Rock, you're going out there. Okay.
Right. No big deal. Show up to work, no creative, and then just win the tag belts because they got nothing else going for you. Right.
Right? But it makes it so believable.
Right.
It makes it so believable that, Undertaker and Rock can surely win at any moment.
Yeah. They're talking about this People magazine. Rock's one of the most 25 intriguing people of the year 2000. And JR and King mentioned Bush and Gore, the election. And that kind of threw me back. I was like, yeah, Bush and Gore was the election of 2000, right? And so I looked it up. That extended recount, Gore did not concede to Bush until December 13th, only 5 days before this. So it's kind of weird to put politics on a wrestling timeline, but oh yeah, that was going on too. I forgot.
And you know what? Even as a kid, I remember that.
Yeah, that extended 6 weeks, not knowing who won the election. That's crazy.
And in typical tag team fashion, the Undertaker does not start the match.
Right?
Yes.
And just this frenetic, fast-paced matches. And I don't know if that's just how it was in 2000 compared to now, or if that was just this particular night with these four guys. But I'm so used to picking up my phone after about 5 minutes in a match, like just pick up my phone, kind of half listen. I never got to do that here because every time I was getting ready to do that, they were picking up to get to the finish. They were going to get ready to go home. And I'm thinking, wow, this is so much different than now, Yeah. 2 count. Here comes the Undertaker. Best pure striker in the game right here.
Right, that's right.
Oh, and he flips off Mike Chioda.
Different side of Undertaker here.
Right?
Yeah, more aggressive towards the ref. He high-fived someone on the way down to the ring. What kind of Undertaker are we seeing here?
Yeah, he must have been in a good mood this night. Oh, I got caught. He's taking out the World Tag Team Champions by himself here.
He's all in black too. Yeah, usually you have blue jeans or some lighter colored pants, but it's all in black.
Yeah, he doesn't have on those Survivor Series 2000 gold pants that he borrowed from Godfather.
Stop. Everybody wants an action figure of that. I'm like, do I really need an action figure of that?
Representing that one time and a loss, by the way.
Yeah, it's a loss. Yeah, no thank you.
Side slam, nice. Oh, and a clothesline. Boom, DDT. I used to love making that, doing that move on like Attitude or whatever video game. Do that Undertaker DDT off the ropes.
You know, I hated Attitudes with the button mashers. You know, oh my God. The moves were horrendous.
I have the strategy guide still. Oh, there's a spear. And in my V-Fed, which we'll talk about that, I'm sure, after the match, but Edge always did the Britney spear. It wasn't just a spear. It had to be a Britney spear when he did the spear on somebody. That was his finisher, was the Britney spear. I still have the strategy guide for WWF Attitude, and it's crazy the buttons that you have to hit to get like
down, B, C. I'm like, what the hell?
It's like the Konami code: up, down, left, right, up, down, down. Wow, there's no way. I just button mashed and hope I got lucky.
Yeah. WrestleMania 2000 changed the game.
That's right. I was listening to your podcast last week on my way to the Minnesota Gopher game. I was listening to that. So it started on the way and I finished it on the way home from the game. So nice. You bookended my game on Saturday.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's always how I like to have my episodes. Good bookends.
Right. Yeah. I forget. It's like a 50-minute episode or something. And it's 25 minutes there, 25 minutes back. It's perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, a rest hold.
Undertaker, he's ready for the tag out there.
It's interesting here to see The Rock play, at least temporarily. I know it switches later, but Rock plays the face in peril. That's kind of interesting to see. But I mean, what's your alternative? The Undertaker, you know? Yeah. Flying clothesline. Oh no. Spinning heel kick. I mean, just frequent tags, signature moves. I mean, you don't even have time to think here. Rock bottom.
Yeah.
Rock bottom out of nowhere. Unfortunately, they're in the wrong corner and he doesn't cover the guy.
I can't believe also Rock's going to be Undertaker's third different tag team partner for 4 titles. Right. Undertaker needs it. Undertaker's waiting here.
He's ready for that hot tag.
Marry Me Stephanie sign in the crowd. Classic.
That's probably me. I loved me some Stephanie McMahon in college. Side slam. Oh, no. Oh, he's going to go for the old. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to go for the old school.
Dumping Edge over the ropes.
Yeah, that's Royal Rumble practice. The Royal Rumble's coming up in a couple weeks. Yeah.
Can you believe? Yeah. Can you believe Royal Rumble and then WrestleMania just on the horizon here?
Mm-hmm. He actually yelled out old school here, and he actually hits it, which is very small percentage, as we've talked about before. I'd like to see what his lifetime percentage is with old school, but it ain't great.
Especially when he calls it out.
Right.
Oh, the referee's out. Oh, Chioda's practicing for WrestleMania.
Where he takes that like 33-minute dirt nap in the middle of the Undertaker's match against Helmsley. Like, is he dead? Somebody check on him.
Yeah, seriously. I think, doesn't Heyman say that? Is the referee dead?
Right. Oh, signaling for that last ride.
Did it end here?
I mean, this is a quick little match. We're getting close. Talking up and down. Talking Taker talk about they think Christian's taken the last ride more than anybody, and he does it so well, to be honest with you. But it's not if you hear Bruce Pritchard talk, that's not a bump you want to take every night.
No.
Oh, we got hit with the title by Edge.
Oh, classic. I was just waiting for that one.
I think Christian's going to go for the cover here, and you see Undertaker's going to get his arms underneath Christian, as you'll be able to tell.
You knew that. Yeah, man. Good throw. Good throw.
Yeah, and he just throws him for a mile. It's like me with my kid when we're wrestling.
Rock is like giving words to Edge.
Yeah, now Rock's wanting that hot tag.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't make it.
Now Undertaker's in peril. Not for long.
Right? I mean, they just get in, they hit all the greatest hits. People loved it. Game over. I mean, what a match. Hot tag. Here comes The Rock. Rock's going to hit Edge with a Samoan drop here. Extra points for being actually Samoan. It probably hurts more, right?
Extra points for being actually Samoan.
Oh, here we go. Big finish. Couldn't beat him with the rock bottom, but we'll be able to get him with the people's elbow here.
Oh, and they got it. The unlikely pairing of The Undertaker and The Rock.
If you listen to the commentary, JR says Undertaker and Rock just went through the tag team champions like Xfl through a fat lady. The commentary that couldn't fly in 2021.
Wait, like what? What did he say?
I believe he said Undertaker and Rock just went through the tag champions like Xfl through a fat lady. That's what he says on the commentary. JR says that.
Xfl.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, okay.
What is that?
That Xfl is like you take it for constipation to kind of like get everything moving again.
Okay, through a fat lady? My God.
Apparently moves faster through a fat lady, apparently. But wow.
Wow, okay.
So when Lillian announces the champions, Lillian announces the tag team champions as The Undertaker and The Rock, not The Rock and The Undertaker. Just putting that out there. Undertaker first billing over The Rock. Love it.
It always sounds better with The Undertaker's name first.
Of course. So this ends, they're showing the moments ago replay on my TV right now.
Yeah.
This ends the fourth reign for Edge and Christian, and it begins the fourth reign for The Rock and the fourth reign for The Undertaker. So a lot of the number 4 going around.
I did not know this was The Rock's fourth.
This is his fourth reign and Undertaker's fourth reign.
Wow.
So after this, so there he is. He's plugging that book right there, that cookbook I was talking about. But so after this, later on in the night, Edge and Christian are obviously going to be not happy when they're sitting at their lockers without their titles. And kind of Kurt Angle is like, well, forget about that. We need to save my title at least. Let's shift our focus. Let's shift our focus to my title. And Edge and Christian are not happy with that. Edge and Christian are very disappointed that they lost their belts. And so this whole thing at the end of the night, McMahon and Angle ends up being an Angle, because after they amateur wrestle for about 3 seconds, I think Vince takes them down once for two points. And after that, they all team up to beat down on Mick Foley.
Oh, and classic.
And Edge and Christian come down, and there's a concerto on Mick Foley, and they split him open. And then Stephanie comes out, and Stephanie had been a face earlier in the night. She comes out with a document saying that the board of directors has officially recognized that Linda McMahon is catatonic and unfit and cannot run the WWE. So therefore, Vince McMahon is now the full authority in charge of WWF. So Vince, being fully in charge, says the services of Commissioner Foley are no longer required. He's fired. And this is the end of Commissioner Mick Foley. He started commissioner in, I think, June of 2000, and it ends tonight in December of 2000.
6 months. Wow.
Yeah. We don't see Mick again until, I think, the Go Home Raw before WrestleMania. It's announced that he's going to special ref the Vince Shane fight at WrestleMania X7. So we don't see Mick for 4 months. He's going home for the holidays.
Wow. I liked the Commissioner Foley angle.
I did too. I loved it. We always loved when he had his gavel and he would always say, and that decision is final. I love that. Yeah.
My God. Yeah. I remember Stephanie with the papers. I hated catatonically impaired Linda. Oh,
where she faked it until WrestleMania when she woke up and got out of her chair and
kicks McMahon right in the balls. Yeah.
Yeah, but it kind of, I had no idea when you said December 18th, 2000, I had no idea that this was the day that I remember Foley getting busted open and getting fired, but I didn't remember that it was the same day the Undertaker won the tag team titles.
I thought Foley got fired on the Christmas episode.
Sure.
That's what I thought. But yeah, this makes sense too. Yeah.
It makes sense. He has such an affinity for Christmas. He probably wanted to be home for the holidays. Who knows?
Yeah.
So Rock and not Rock, SmackDown and Sundown would hold the tag team titles for 4 days. I guess technically 1 day because they tape it the next day, but
yeah,
technically they 4 days until it was aired on TV. So there's another 4 in there for you. And they would lose the titles back to Edge and Christian on SmackDown when they had a rematch, and special referee Kurt Angle interfered on half.
Of course.
To get the belts back to where they belonged. At least the Undertaker picked up a tag team title reign for his trouble.
That's right. In 1 day or 4 days, it's still in the record books.
That's right.
Yep.
And so the next one that we'll do
is the first one with Kane.
Yeah, it's a Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania X7. So not too far from here, maybe about 4.5 months. It is April 17th of 01. So 2 weeks after WrestleMania X7, Brothers of Destruction versus Edge and Christian again.
My God.
And this is leading into Backlash at the end of April of 2001. So what we're trying to set up is that triple title match where it's Intercontinental, World, and Tags. The 2-man power trip is bringing the World and Intercontinental. So the Undertaker and Kane have to hurry up and pick up the tag belts. And I think that's where this happens.
Yeah. Those with the gold have the power. I remember that tag.
Yeah. I don't know how you felt at the time, but I remember thinking, even with all the dirt sheets and everything, I remember thinking like they had a chance here. One of them had a chance.
Yeah.
Like maybe he'll even get the Intercontinental belt. I wouldn't even be disappointed if he left with that for the first time ever.
Because I remember the stipulation, this was the one that was all or nothing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Because I know there was one like whoever pins who gets that title.
I think, yeah, if you pinned Austin, you got the world title. I think if you pinned Triple H, you get the Intercontinental title. Or if they won the match and pinned Undertaker or Kane, they became tag team champions. And looking at it now, 20 years later, it was so obvious the tag belts were going to the 2-man power trip. But at the time, I was like,
yeah. And then the next one, Kane wins the Intercontinental from Triple H. So you're thinking, okay, here's the rematch. Now Undertaker's gonna get it from Austin. It's all
typical Austin loss for the Undertaker.
He gets some retribution at, what is it, Insurrection or Rebellion. He defeats Triple H, but since he did not pin Austin, he does not win the world title. But it still counts as an Undertaker victory over both of them.
Right.
Triple H. So it's some kind of retribution there.
Yeah, a little bit, on a UK only pay-per-view, I guess, yeah.
And then we slowly make ourselves through the Invasion, and then Undertaker and Kane win the WCW tag belts, and then both of them at SummerSlam.
Yeah. So that's definitely another stop we'll be making eventually. I mean, what is that? December or January? One of the two. December, right?
SummerSlam's August of 01.
Right. So that's got to be the next one. And I assume this Raw in April of 01 will be November.
April of 01. So
we'll do that one in November, and then probably SummerSlam in December.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we finish it off. That's it. And then we go to Rob Van Dam in Vengeance.
Yeah. I was just telling my wife yesterday, she's like, what are you going to do when you finish the tag belts? And I said, God, I don't know. But I know we're going to officially do his lower card titles, which is one pay-per-view. But we'll do Vengeance 01, and that'll get us to January. And then we got to think of something new, but I'm sure we will.
We're going to have to do something. Like maybe some kind of gimmick matches. We have to go back, like see his casket matches or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Not the Buried Alive matches.
I like going through, some of these different matches that we've seen. They're not WrestleMania matches. They're not even pay-per-view matches a lot of the time. They're not the ones that you remember. They're not world title wins. I like that we're going through the tag belts, the hardcore belt, like just some of those matches that might be slightly under the radar that you don't think of. And it's been a pleasure to watch like these SmackDowns and these Raws and like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember Chris Jericho apparently putting Terry in the Lion Tamer like he's doing right now on my TV.
Yeah, you definitely have to do with Rob Van Dam, and yeah, definitely have to figure out something else that gives us SmackDowns and Raws again.
For sure.
Yes.
Well, so you've got until January to think of that and a new name for the Undertaker and The Rock, because right now it's SmackDown and Sundown. Just so you know.
See, I'm trying to think of like something it doesn't have to rhyme, but something like interesting, but Undertaker and Rock don't have similar nicknames.
No.
Like you can't, it's like.
I almost answered my own question immediately when I thought, why don't they have a cool name like Rock and Sock? Oh, that's why, because there is none.
Like, I wonder how they gave Undertaker and Big Show the Unholy Alliance. Like, where did that come from?
Right.
It's just some things to think about. Like, where did that come from? Like he got Rock's the Great One, but Undertaker doesn't have a nickname with the one in there. So it's like,
right.
Ugh. I'm trying to think like, yeah, it's hard.
Right.
It is so hard.
What, in the meantime, as you ponder that, what did you think?
Ponder that, yeah.
Can we, let's talk about the Undertaker's Escape the Undertaker on Netflix a little bit. I know you had your last episode on it, or 2 episodes ago, 1 episode ago.
Yes.
Yeah. So basic in a bubble thoughts. What was your overall tone and tenor of it?
I liked it. I like that they, thought out of the box for something like this. It's interactive. It's almost, and especially near the end when they're going up against each other, it feels like a cinematic match.
Yeah.
So it feels like, something that could have happened at like a pay-per-view, the New Day versus the Undertaker in like a handicap match. Especially, you see, and you can actually choose, do you want the New Day to win or do you want the Undertaker to win? It gives you those options basically.
Right.
And yeah, I liked, this cut scenes, with Undertaker, he sits up from the fog. So it's like he's not gone. It's just fun. I thought it was fun. For what it was fun.
Yeah, like we had talked about a little bit before we hit record. Mm-hmm. I think I saw a lot of people kind of dragging it a little bit online. Of course, that's what people do online to everything. But I saw some wrestling fans and horror blogs too, were kind of saying like, yeah, it's not the greatest. But I think if you go in with the right attitude, you get out of it what you should get out of it. So if you go in looking for Halloween Kills or Saw or even the Boneyard match, you might be a little disappointed because it's not blood and guts and jump scares. There really wasn't anything like that. But I think if you go in looking for what it is, this is the PG era, the New Day, they're friendly and they're happy and they're colorful and, they're good guys. And so you're going to get some, what I call gateway horror. So that's like, I don't know, Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark kind of stuff where it's a little creepy, but it's nothing it's not going to keep your 12-year-old up all night. So just to kind of get them into horror a little bit. And then I think there's some horror kids that maybe watch this that maybe get into WWE a little bit. Maybe they want to see more of the New Day. So they start watching Raw. So there's a little bit of cross promotion going on. And I think you hit it right on the head because in my notes, I said, this is basically a cinematic match. That was one of my pros. So I like that they did that. I like that the Undertaker's doing anything because he doesn't owe us anything. He could just say, I'm going to go retire and live on my ranch and you'll never see me again. So he's at least out there, right?
I like his Emperor Palpatine powers.
Yes.
That was like something like, wow, I never, he's never used like the lightning from his hands to attack people. So to have him, actually use that as a weapon, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's taking it from Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely Palpatine vibes. I wrote that in my notes too when we got to that part of the movie.
And I think I found a good name for the Undertaker and Rock.
Oh, good. What is it?
The Brahma Bulldozers.
There you go. That could work.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of like combining two things into one word. So that's all right.
Yeah. I think that's probably like my peak right now.
Yeah. WWE, if you need to reach us, you know what our Twitter handles are for creative.
Yeah. Brahma Bulldozers. Got it.
I do wish a little bit, the adult in me, again, this is for kids. I know that I'm no longer the target demographic as much as it hurts me.
Neither am I.
Right. I wish that the choices were a little bit like based on what you chose. I wish it would throw you off and give you like a much different ending so that you'd be forced to come back and replay it if you wanted to get the main ending or the good ending. But I tried hard. I mean, I did what you probably did, which was go back and do all the different choices. And really, as ludicrous as I got, like, Xavier Woods, join the Undertaker, give up your friends. I would do all this crazy stuff, and it might lead you to a special cut scene or something where
that's my favorite ending when Xavier Woods turns on it and then
start beating down on him.
Yeah, creating the caskets at the end.
Yeah. Yep. So it gives you a different cut scene, but ultimately, after you hit the rest in peace button or whatever, it's going to take you back to the face your fear screen until you get it right. So it's not really going to take you too far off the beaten path. So I wish it would have been a little bit more complex, but I get why they didn't do that, because some 10-year-old is not going to care about 5 hours worth of Undertaker footage. They just wanted to do this in 30 minutes. And I get that too,
Another thing I made note of is it reminds me of like the 90s vignettes of him creating those caskets.
Yeah.
And him, like in his woodworking and him doing like all this type of metal work and stuff. It felt making the nails and the keys.
Mm-hmm.
It really made you feel like he's like in his wood shop making that casket and stuff like that.
We got to talk about that salami sandwich though. Why the hell was he eating a salami sandwich?
Was it salami or was it some kind of deli meat or something? It was like,
I don't know what it was, but I'm thinking he is the undead. He's like this demon. Like, why does he need to eat it all? And if we need to show him eating, why is it a salami sandwich? I don't know. It was weird.
Probably all they had left in catering when they were filming it.
Overall, I was pretty happy with it, though. I got out of it what I thought I would get out of it. And like I said, Undertaker doesn't have to do anything. So if they put that thing out on Blu-ray one day, just the sheer interactive thing of it, I would love to buy it.
Speaking of Undertaker doing things, one of my Undertaker friends gave me a text earlier saying that Undertaker is in Saudi Arabia.
I saw that he was he introduced
Pitbull.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
in his garb, right? He's as the Undertaker.
In his garb, he brought his costume, and I'm like, now I'm excited for tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I hope I didn't watch the video yet. I hope he was well received, because I know, man, that takes a lot of courage to dress up as your character outside of WWE. So like that one time WWE sent him, was it 2016, I think? WWE sent him to Cleveland for LeBron and the Cavs, because LeBron wore that Undertaker shirt a couple times. So when they won the title the next year, they were opening night, they were going to get their rings and raise their banner. So Vince sends the Undertaker in his full garb to the Cleveland Cavaliers locker room. And I think LeBron no-sold him, I think, and just kind of like walked by him like, okay, whatever. Because they didn't even tell LeBron he was coming. And I just felt so bad for Taker, because like it takes a lot of courage to wear your stuff not in the WWE arena, And so
some of the other players were cool.
Oh, I think a lot of them were, yeah. But yeah. LeBron, I remember reading that LeBron kind of blew him off a little bit, which kind of sucks.
He's an asshole anyway.
But so I hope it went well with Pitbull today. I didn't see the video yet, but I saw pictures.
I saw some of it. I heard cheers, so that's good.
Oh, that's good. Good.
But then when he told me that, I'm like, okay, something's definitely up.
Taker's got to get that Saudi money. How can he get in there? How can I get into this pay-per-view somehow?
They probably told Vince, "Are you bringing Undertaker?" And Vince is like, "Yes."
Right.
Yes. Yeah, and in true Vince fashion, give Undertaker 24 hours notice. I need you here.
And he'll be there, right? Yeah. Well, he's retired now. Every day is Saturday for him. What's he care?
That's right. Sure, why not? So,
nice. I was listening to your last episode when you were talking about 2 episodes ago was No Mercy, and then the last episode was WrestleMania 2000. So I tweeted.
I felt like adding video games to it.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a hole you could go down, because everybody identifies with at least one video game, if not multiple video games from growing up. And I tweeted you about No Mercy in college and talked about how, we had what we called a VFed, a virtual federation.
And this is what I couldn't wait to talk about. Yes.
Yeah, we had, and it started because I thought of you again when you were talking about WrestleMania 2000 on Friday's episode, because that's where it started for me. I mean, I played games like WrestleMania Challenge on 8-bit and stuff when I was a real little kid, but I remember in college, freshman year, nothing to do, because you're just a freshman, so you're going to class, coming back to the dorms, and all my nerdy wrestling friends and we were gearing up for the Royal Rumble 2000, Cactus Jack and Triple H.
Oh yeah.
And the actual Rumble, but it was like 6 weeks away. And we were like, man, I want to watch this Rumble now. And on WrestleMania 2000, the video game, you can make your own pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You could run the card, like playing the parts, or you could just let it go CPU versus CPU and just watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, what we should do, and this is how cool my college life was. People were getting drunk and they were on frat row. I was in the dorm room with my buddies, and it was like, we should make the Royal Rumble card on WrestleMania 2000, the game, and any of the guys that are not in the game, like, we can make them, because you can create a wrestler, So we would make Benoit, whoever wasn't on the game, we would make them, and then we would we set the card up, and then we would just watch it. And then, so we were watching the video game guys fight, and then we wouldn't play, we would just watch. And then I would take notes on who won. Well, this happened, this guy ran down, this happened. And then it was like the next weekend, it was like, we should just take the results that we got from the video game, and we should book No Mercy or No Way Out right now. We should book the February pay-per-view. Of course, we didn't have any Raw or anything like that, but we would just be like, what do we think would happen based on the results from the Rumble? So we started like, okay, then this guy would face this guy, and this guy would probably face this guy. And then we played the pay-per-view. And then we did it for WrestleMania, and we did it for Backlash.
That's nice. Yeah.
Pretty soon it became, we should add our guys in there, because we each had to create a wrestler based on ourselves. Of course, we were all like jacked up, and
of course, yes.
Well, yeah. We should add our characters in. And so my character, I won't bore everybody with it, but my character, I was the icon, Randy Turco. And if you remember back then, everything was 2000, Windows 2000, LOD 2000. So I was going to be Icon 2000. And then it was shortened, like Triple H got shortened from Hunter Hearst Helmsley to just Triple H. Mm-hmm. I was eventually shortened from Icon 2000 to I2K. So like we all had our little characters, and we kind of sprinkled them into like what was currently going on with the current superstars. And then we started, let's add those guys to the storylines and the matches. So we just kept doing this. And believe it or not, this went on for 4 years.
Oh my gosh, really?
4 years.
That's awesome.
So we went from WrestleMania 2000, the game. Mm-hmm. And then when No Mercy came out, it was like, well, we got to move all the action over there, because that's got better stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the whole thing was like, you gotta hurry up and run through the game, unlock everything, make your guys, and then we called it moving to the No Mercy network. We were moving the Federation to the No Mercy network, and then we carried that through GameCube. I mean, it was on Day of Reckoning. We were on WrestleMania 19, that game. Like we carried it for 4 years, And as a matter of fact, what I started to do is I made Word documents of all the results and all the angles.
Oh my God.
And then pretty soon, over the course of the 4 years, it turned into like, I have to write dialogue of what they would say to each other to set up the matches. So I started writing dialogue. And so it turned into this 4-year project, and I'll get it right here.
This is a true federation. Whether it's a federation or a video game federation, you know you're deep into it when you're writing like your matches and your results and your dialogue and everything else going through it.
Fan fiction that nobody cares about. But so we put it on CDR, all these Word documents after the 4 years was over. We put it on CDR, and then I came out with my own DVD.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's 2000 to 2004. And it's, if you open it up there's disc 1 has 2000 to 2002. And then the other one has 2003 and 2004 on there. So
what is it when you play it? Is it matches? What is on there?
It is just literally just Word documents of all the results, all the notes, all the dialogue.
Oh God.
But it's funny that you say that, because we didn't tape them all, but we probably got about a year into this, and we were like, you know what we should do is when we're playing these video game matches and we're taking the notes and writing the angles, we should pop a tape in the VCR and record it.
You were Twitch before Twitch.
An innovator before my time, right?
Right.
So I don't have them all anymore.
Somebody must have spied on you. Somebody must have spied on one of those conversations and said, you know what? In 20 years, I'm going to make something out of this.
The government, they were listening, but
it's always listening, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I probably got, I don't have, most of them I got rid of now, but there's probably 5 or 6 blank tapes that I have that if you put them in, they're just random video game matches of guys clumsily wrestling each other. But yeah, that was my, that VFed. So when you mentioned WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy, I'm like, that's exactly what I went to immediately.
Yes, definitely. I like I said, I love No Mercy, but just something about WrestleMania 2000, it's just like something's different about that, you know. It like changed the game on everything. There was like the best WWF game that they ever put out. Just like everything was better. Their moveset was so simplified. Like we were talking earlier about Attitude. You didn't have to button mash. I hated the Attitude and the Warzone mechanics. It was terrible.
Acclaim. It was all Acclaim. Yeah, Acclaim games are like that, where it's up, down, left, right, send in 2 box tops, eat a sandwich, read a book, and to do, you know, an arm drag. And it was so much easier on THQ, because THQ just had the, you know, either at one direction, up, down, left, or right with tap A, or up, down, left, right, hold A for a strong grapple. And then they had, you know, 4 more moves on the backside too. If you're facing a guy's back, you know, you can do strong grapple or weak grapple. So much easier to navigate than whatever the hell Acclaim had going.
Yeah, you can actually choose alternate attires instead of, you know, you have to keep your original, but if you fight 2 Undertakers and the second Undertaker's gonna have a different attire. But if you wanted to play as that, you can't. But in THQ, you can. You can also change your attires. You can have something totally different. It's just, I love it. I love WrestleMania 2000. I love No Mercy. I wish No Mercy was a little less glitchy.
Right. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we get halfway through the storyline, through the championship mode, the story mode, and then you pop it in the next day and it's gone. And all your creative wrestlers are gone, you know.
Yep. Everything you unlocked is gone, and it's like, no.
And that's why I showed you that picture of the Game Shark. I mean, I would never cheat. I mean, I always want to beat the game, but like it gets taken away from you. I would just use the Game Shark code for unlimited money and just buy it all back from the SmackDown Mall.
I still have the Game Shark. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I don't know what happened with those games. Had to sell well. They were so well received. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to that basic format. Why THQ kind of went away from that. It felt like, I don't know.
I love that basic format. Funny you say about watching the computers play the matches. I loved, you know, just we have nothing else to watch. You just put on the wrestling video game, No Mercy, whatever, and throw on a Royal Rumble, have the computers battle it out. And it's just so fun to see them fight, see how many people they can eliminate. I love the eliminations were so easy. You just hit them near the ropes and strong punch and they're out. It feels like an actual Royal Rumble instead of like a mini game. Like, because in the real life, they're not performing a mini game. They're pushing each other out.
It was always funny. If we always made the rule, if something happens in the match and the computer does something, you have to acknowledge it in the results and then the angle going forward. So sometimes people would run out for no reason, and it would be the Undertaker versus The Rock, and here comes Steve Blackman. You'd be like, what? It's like, no, man, you got to acknowledge it now. You got to work Steve Blackman in there somehow.
That's why you always have to turn interference off.
Right. No kidding.
Can't keep interference on because you never know who you're going to get.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want Mae Young running down there in your championship match.
Right.
Then how are you gonna write the champion fighting Mae Young?
Right. I think my first like championship change that wasn't like Royal Rumble 2000, obviously, but like after that we started doing our own stuff. Val Venus won the world title, and I'm like, what is this?
What?
Yeah. So I had to work with that, and my buddies never let me forget it.
Yeah. That's something you can't forget. You can't forget Val Venus winning the world title.
Yeah. So anytime I would, talk smack about somebody, they'd say, wasn't Val Venus your first world champion? Like, man,
and you're like,
why'd you have to say that?
Yeah. What? And you're like, shut up.
You didn't just say that.
Yeah. You didn't just say that. Yeah. But it's funny you mentioned Game Shark. Yeah. I always use the Game Shark, even the PS2, to unlock like the hidden characters, like the people they move, like Vince McMahon. Like I always wanted Vince McMahon on my roster for some reason. You got to have Vince McMahon.
Yeah, after I beat the game the first time and it kept getting erased, I was like, I no longer care. I'm just going to take the cheap way because there's no way I'm beating this game every time it erases on me. And internet was pretty primitive back then, but anything that we read, they fixed it eventually. Whatever the problem was, they fixed it in future generations of the game, but there's no way to tell when you buy it what one you're getting. You can't look on the back or anything. Yeah.
Right. And then, oh my God, that's so frustrating.
Right. So you could never tell. So I'm like, okay, then I'm just going to every time it erases on me, I'm going to keep using the Game Shark, and I'll keep a backup of all my guys on the memory card and just pop them back on,
Yep. I forgot what was the name of that playthrough that on No Mercy that you can like unlock the people like through a Royal Rumble.
Survival mode?
Is it survival mode?
I think so. Yeah.
I loved going through that because you never know who's the next unlockable character that is coming down the aisle.
Right. If you knock them out, you get them.
Yeah. You unlock them by eliminating them. I loved that. I remember. Yeah. I think I only got to Andre the Giant once.
I was just gonna say you wanted to collect them all because it was like collecting cards or figures in a way. Yeah. But like I never used those guys. Like I never wanted to be Mae Young or Andre the Giant. Was too big. He was too slow getting over the top rope. Like I don't want to be this guy, but I wanted to have him.
Yeah, you wanted to have him because then it's like 100% completed. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's just like in WrestleMania 2000. I had to always play as Steve Austin in season mode because the Smoking Skull belt was the only thing I could not unlock using a Game Shark. You can unlock all the wrestlers, all the arenas, not the Smoking Skull belt. So I had to play as Stone Cold Steve Austin as season mode to unlock that damn belt that I'm never going to use. But just so I can have 100% with the belts and everything, I had to play as Stone Cold in season mode.
And that's before they had, what are those little achievements, in-game achievements. That's before they even had those, but you still wanted to know in your own head that you got everything that you can possibly get. Yeah. And I used the Game Shark on No Mercy. They had people were like modifying the game. Like there was Hell in a Cell codes. Like, I mean, it would be like 12 lines long.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But you could get a Hell in a Cell and it was very clunky. You could get a casket match in No Mercy. It was very clunky, but people would modify the game that you could do that. And so
I think I remember like the video, it opens like a hole in like the ring or something. It's like a buried alive hole.
Kind of, yeah, yeah. And they had codes for everything. They had codes for like Shane O'Mac count because Shane counted really fast for Undertaker when Undertaker won the belt at Over the Edge.
Yeah.
So they had a Shane O'Mac count where you could put in where the referee would just literally, when you pin somebody, the referee would go 3, like ding, 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 like where's 1 and 2? You know, that was the Shane O'Mac count. I mean, they had codes for everything, and we had them all written down. And
nice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's always fun to like modify your game if you want to play stuff like that.
Yeah, when you're Angle, if you want to set up a Hell in a Cell on No Mercy between 2 guys, you can now do that, even though Hell in a Cell is not a part of that game technically.
I wish it was. I wish Hell in a Cell was part of that game because it was
Right.
It was a part of SmackDown 2.
Yeah,
you would have thought it'd be a part of that,
right? But I don't think it was. Yeah,
oh.
Didn't have everything. No game does, but yeah, No Mercy was the closest to perfect I think we can get. I love that game.
I do too.
I should turn it on more often.
Yeah.
So we didn't do the toy thing. That reminds me, we didn't do the toy thing. We talked about Undertaker in 2000. You know, last time was 1999, and we talked about some 99 figs.
Yes.
So I looked up some 2000 Undertaker figs, and I thought I listened very intently on Friday to your episode, hoping that you didn't screw me over like you did last time when you talked about my back talking.
Oh, that's the other one. Did you ever get that?
Oh, I didn't get that yet. I have a tickler for that too, though.
Okay.
But I was thinking one of the cool things.
No. The thing I buried alive was the bangers.
The bangers, yeah. I used to have that thing. I
have one. I have to see if I have that, but yeah, mine doesn't work. You can't get one that works.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I have a they did a kind of a Wrestling Buddy knockoff in about 2010, 2011 with Zack Ryder, and I have Zack Ryder's that my son beats him up. He calls him Rough Rider, and that Zack Ryder thing, he has Velcro. You could get to him if you needed to change the battery, but that's 9-10 years old, and it's still going.
Nice.
Yeah, he's still talking. But no, I was thinking of the Rebellion series. So Rebellion Series 1, 2000. Undertaker's just wearing a black vest, so there's nothing special about the. I mean, he's definitely Biker Taker, but he's wearing the black vest. No Deadman Inc. shirt or anything like we saw today. But I thought it was interesting, and maybe you know more about it than I do. The box has 3D glasses on it. Do you know what the deal is with the little mini 3D glasses on the box? Is that just the packaging, or?
No, on the side, those little pictures are 3D.
Gotcha. I knew they had to be for something. I'm like, why? What's with the 3D glasses?
Yeah, that whole like WrestleMania 17 style packaging with the 3D glasses. Yeah, the side pictures are like 3D. So I don't know how they expected this. I think the thing comes out and you can hold it by the glasses.
Sure.
It's like stuff like that.
And every listing I looked at was like, comes with 3D glasses. And I'm like, what the hell are they for? And I couldn't figure it out. Yeah. And I also noticed, like you did, the WrestleMania 17 logo is way wrong because they probably hadn't decided it was going to be called X7, you know?
Yeah, they didn't decide on that yet.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. And then I looked and saw like, well, if that's Rebellion Series 1, what's Rebellion Series 2? And I thought Rebellion Series 2 is more of the Undertaker that we saw tonight.
Is that
well, no, that's Rebellion Series 3. Rebellion Series 2 is he's wearing the kind of like the Undertaker cutoff shirt with the no sleeves, no sides kind of a thing. But instead of Deadman Inc., apparently Deadman is too risque for a toy. It says Destruction Inc.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And it comes with a baseball cap, I think.
I think that might be true too, but yeah, it says Destruction Inc. because apparently Deadman Inc. is. So I looked on the back of the shirt too. I looked up some loosies just to see. Well, if it says Destruction Inc. on the front, what's it say on the back? And it does say Decade of Destruction. It doesn't say no Deadman anywhere. Deadman's apparently not cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, I never noticed that on mine. Yeah, Destruction Inc.
Yes. And then you're right. Rebellion Series 3, there's nothing special about the figure, but he just comes with a giant tire that says 2000 on it, which is weird.
And on the side of the tire is a dead cat.
It's a dead cat. I didn't know that.
Dead cat on the side of the tire. It's like smushed, and its eye is like has the X on it.
Why? Why is that necessary, folks?
Yeah. He's got no articulation in his arms. It's like posed arms. That's why I always mention these stuff, like some episodes, like they take 2 steps forward, but then like 3 steps back.
Yeah.
Like they gave him a removable bandana in like that Raw Heat series and the House of Pain. But on like the Rebellion ones, they have a molded bandana. And like other ones, they have a molded bandana. I'm like, okay, like a year prior, you gave him a removable bandana. Always give him a removable bandana.
Going forward, yeah. Why did we have to go back to no removable bandana? Yeah.
And the Titantrons, they bend in the elbows. In Rebellion Series 3, he has no bendable elbows. It's like, okay.
Why? Yeah.
Why? It's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back.
Yeah, that Destruction Inc. Made me laugh. That was reminded me of when Jeff Jarrett had that "Don't Piss Me Off" thing going. That was his tag thing. That's tagline on his guitar, on the back of his guitar, on his shirt.
Don't tick me off.
They changed it to "Don't Tick Me Off." That's right. So that's what it reminded me of. But Deadman isn't even that risque. I don't know what the problem was.
I'm trying to think. They've released other figures, I think, with Deadman on it, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know what the problem was. Similarly, we were talking on Talking Taker about the Undertaker Netflix movie. He's wearing sleeves under his coat, and we didn't know why. One of our theories is his tattoos not child friendly. I don't know that he's got any naked ladies on his arm, but like maybe it's too scary for kids, so they told him to cover up.
That's right. I remember he takes off the coat. It's all long sleeves.
So I thought maybe Taker's either not in the gym right now and he didn't want to show it off, or maybe they told him to cover up his tats. They're just not.
Maybe, because I know he has skulls and demons on it.
The thinker, the demon, yeah.
Yeah, he has demon skulls. He has a lot of gothic tattoos.
So maybe they were telling him he needs to cover up. I don't know why he wears sleeves where he's never done that before under his coat.
Yeah, because he posts photos on Instagram. He's still jacked, so it's like,
sure, he's fine.
It must be something with the tattoos. They don't want people to see the tattoos.
I didn't know if he missed a couple workouts. Do you remember when Triple H? I think it was like 2003.
Oh yeah, fat Triple H. Yeah,
and he wore those shorts down to his knees for a while. He had the tights that go down to his knees because he didn't think his quads looked jacked enough, and he didn't want people to see.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
I remember Out of Shape Triple H. It was like 2003, 2004. It's like he didn't go to the gym as much. It's just Out of Shape Triple H. I'm like, nice.
Which Out of Shape Triple H is better than 80% of most of us still normally.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I love Out of Shape Triple H. Yeah.
Oh man. I was going to talk to you too about giving you an update on Full Gear.
It's going to Minnesota, right?
I think the last time we talked, Rampage was official, but not Full Gear. So although we suspected they were going to have Full Gear, AEW Full Gear in Minneapolis the next night after Rampage, and they did. They followed through on that. And it was funny because for Rampage, we got 4th row seats. Wasn't much of a problem. There wasn't, as long as you showed up at 10 a.m. right when the website opened up. We logged in. One of my buddies was like 4th row. I think they were like $90 seats for 4th row because it's just Rampage. It was like, okay, cool, done deal. And so we're like, cool. So we'll, a week, 2 weeks go by, and it's like, all right, we're gonna try the same thing for Full Gear, and then hopefully it'll be just as easy. Mm-hmm. And it was not just as easy.
Oh no, what happened?
There's more people fighting for pay-per-view tickets than there is for Rampage, but I had my computer going at 10 a.m. My buddy had 2 computers and his phone going. Like we had 3-4 devices ready to go. And like as soon as the website let us in, we're in. And the best seats that we could get is lower level, not even on the floor. And we're like, well, it's not terrible, but we were hoping for floor because we could spend a little extra money this time because we're not doing hotel, car, gas. We're not traveling.
Of course, you're not traveling far.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, maybe we can't. All right. So I'm like, oh man, lower level's not terrible, but we were hoping for floor. So we get the lower level seats. They're like $200 a piece. And we're like, all right, I guess at least there's a pay-per-view on my birthday weekend. You know, it's my birthday weekend.
Birthday weekend? Wow.
So it's like, all right. It's not the seats I wanted, but they're not terrible. And then my wife says, hey, you guys might want to check StubHub. You never know, right? And so I tell my buddy that, like, let's look at StubHub and just keep an eye on it. And later that day, before the prices got ridiculous, somebody posted 8th row seats for, I think they were $250 a piece. And it was like, okay, like we have to get out of our lower level seats and sell them. But like, so my buddy's like, all right, I'm going to buy the 8th row seats. So now we've got lower level and 8th row seats. And I'm like, okay. Then the week goes by, about 5-6 days, and my buddy starts texting us. The rest of us, we're all in a group chat together.
Of course.
He's like, hey, you know, we really wanted chairs. Like when you take the chair home, and we did our research.
They have chairs too?
Yeah, for pay-per-views, I think. And some of the special Dynamites, they have some of the big ones, they have chairs. And we don't know for sure. It might only be the first row, maybe the first 2 rows, but the first, what we got online said the first 3 rows. And my buddy was like, well, we're in the 8th row, so we're not going to get chairs. So there's an idea is maybe we can get out of our 8th row seats since they're off the corner. And maybe he said, I found some seats in the 11th row that are center to the ring. Like you're looking at the center of the ring instead of off the corner. And so he said, I bought those too. And we're like, what? Like you've already bought them? So now we have 11th row, 8th row, and lower level seats.
You have so many tickets now.
Oh my God. And so it was just a mess. And then maybe a couple, 3 days later, I had given up looking. Like I wasn't looking anymore. I was like, we got so many tickets. We'll just get rid of whatever ones we don't want and keep the ones we do. Like it is what it is. And my other buddy wasn't looking. My one buddy was still looking, and he texted me all of us one day.
My God.
And he says, oh my God, somebody just posted 4 seats. There's 4 of us. Somebody just posted 4 seats, 3rd row, $500.
Oh, each.
And we were kind of like, that was our limit, our absolute uber limit. If we had to, maybe we could do 500, maybe. And he's like, they're 500, but they're 3rd row. They're in the corner, but they're 3rd row. And he's like, and I can't guarantee. Everything we read said the first 3 rows get chairs, but I can't guarantee it.
Oh, but you already spent all this money on the other ones.
So he bought those tickets too. So now I have 3rd row, 8th row, 11th row, lower level. So we're just like, oh my God, stop buying tickets. So he's allegedly working on getting rid of all the other ones. I think he got rid of the lower level ones already. I think he found some friends. So we're going to hopefully sit 3rd row, 4th row Rampage, 3rd row at the pay-per-view. And if I don't get chairs, I'm going to be really angry.
I hope you're able to sell those other tickets, recoup some money.
Right. And that's what I was saying. I don't know if he's got them posted on, I know he's trying to talk to friends and family, but I was like, man, get those on StubHub quick, because you don't want to, we don't want to lose any money on this. I said, the pay-per-view better not come around on my birthday and you say everybody owes you $1,600 because you couldn't sell all these tickets, you know?
And you don't want to be the creepy guy on the outside of the arena. Hey, come here. You want some tickets?
No way. And in Minnesota, it's cold. I don't want to be standing out there. But that's my birthday weekend. It'll be Rampage and then the pay-per-view. And hopefully I'll get the chair. I've always wanted the chair just one time.
I think I do want to get a chair once. Maybe look for one like an important Undertaker match that he's on the chair. I think maybe get a chair once.
I looked online just to see, like, in a lot of the chairs, depending on what it is, it's like $200, $500, $1,000.
Yeah, you figure they have to ship that thing.
Yeah, I don't even understand how you would ship a chair. I have no idea how you package it. I know that same buddy went to WrestleMania 26 in Phoenix, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels Part 2. He said he did not get a chair that day. He was way up in the nosebleeds because he had to fly out there and everything too. But he said all he remembers is getting on the plane back to Minneapolis. And then before you get on the tarmac, it was just a stack of chairs because Delta was telling people you can't bring your chair on the plane, and people had to ditch their chair in the airport at the tarmac right before you go down the tunnel. And it was just like a stack of chairs, like just unbelievable.
Oh my God, how would you bring your chair back?
Well, luckily for me, I'm in Minneapolis, so I could just drive it home because I'm 25 minutes from the arena. But yeah, if you're flying, they don't let you take the chair on the plane. Not anymore. So I don't know what you would do with it if you don't know that ahead of time. Like if you know it ahead of time, you could go to the
stock.
Right, after paying $500 or whatever you paid for your seats. If you know it ahead of time, I've had, sometimes you buy some stuff and you don't want to take it on the plane or lug it all the way home. You could ship it home.
Yeah.
But you better know that before you get to the airport. Once you're at the airport, you're done.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. So if we have this next match, this Monday Night Raw, Brothers of Destruction versus Edge and Christian, if we have it after Full Gear, hopefully I'll be sitting in my chair. I better be sitting in my chair.
Yeah. Well, when's Full Gear?
The 13th.
Okay. We'll do it like a month from now.
Yeah, Rampage is the 12th. Full Gear is the 13th. Yeah, we should do it like that. That's Friday, Saturday. We should do it like the next week after that or something.
Yeah, like a month from now, like the 20th. That's perfect. So you should have your chair.
Yeah, and instead of sitting on this couch, I better be sitting on my chair, my $500 chair.
$500 chair, yeah.
You could get a Barca Lounger for $500, but I'm gonna have my folding chair that says AEW Full Gear. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could tell all the listeners all about your experience at the pay-per-view and everything like that.
Sure.
Is this your first AEW pay-per-view?
No, we went to Revolution 2020, so right before COVID.
Ooh.
It was February 29th, 2020. So it was right before the shutdown.
Right there.
Yeah. And it was the main event was Moxley and Jericho for the belts, and Moxley won the belt from Jericho. And so that you got to think about it. That AEW titles only switched hands like 4 times, right? Jericho, Moxley, Omega, right? Right. I think there's only been 3 guys that have had it. And so if the title changes hands, some people think it will at Full Gear because Hangman Page has the title shot against Omega, who's had it a while.
Oh, is that the challenger? Page is the challenger?
Yeah, so that would be 4 title changes, and I would have seen 2 of them. How weird is that?
You saw half.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty neat last time at Revolution. I've never been to an event before where they gave us like these big giant watches. I mean, they were huge and they were white. And they just, at the appropriate time, they controlled them from the back. We had no, it was just looked like a Fitbit, but it was much thicker, and there was no buttons or anything. And so when they wanted them to light up or blink, they could turn it on, and literally everybody in the crowd, their wrist would be blinking or lighting up. So it looked on camera, it looked pretty cool to see all these, 15, 20,000 wrists that were lighting up and blinking in unison. And it kind of looked like a bunch of flash bulbs. It was kind of cool that they did that that was at Revolution 2020.
Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You could keep it if you wanted to, but it doesn't do anything after you leave the arena. So I just recycled it. They had big baskets. Like when you see a movie with 3D glasses and you throw the 3D glasses in the little recycle bin, that's what I did with mine. Cause I'm like, I could take this home, but it's not going to do anything at my house. So that was a cool pay-per-view. I enjoyed it a lot. And then, yeah, like the next week, the world shut down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So it was nice to get back to Chicago to see the Punk thing after the world opened up. And then now we're finally getting back to pay-per-view. We had talked about going to Full Gear when we thought it was going to be in St. Louis, but they yanked it out of St. Louis for some reason and gave it to us. So we're not going to turn that down.
No. Saves you money.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to. Yeah.
It's a nice little birthday celebration. Speaking of birthdays, I think you had one recently. Did you not have one? Did you have a birthday this week?
Yes. Sunday, 17th.
Yeah. Happy birthday. What did you do? Anything? Did you get a free chair?
I did not get a free chair. So I am jealous. I'm jealous that you're going to be getting a chair on your birthday and I will not.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
Well, Sunday's a good day to have a birthday. I love weekend birthdays. I hate it when my birthday is like a Wednesday. It's the worst. Right.
Yeah, I'm glad that it was a day off. I didn't have to work, so it was good.
My birthday, I think my birthday is technically, I think it's like a Wednesday or a Thursday this year, but my birthday weekend is Rampage and Full Gear, and then my birthday's the 10th. So Veterans Day is the 11th. So there's always a day off. If I can just make it through my birthday, I always get the next day off. So
nice.
Yeah. The government's always closed on Veterans Day. And I love and respect all of our veterans, but it's also Randy Turco birthday observed. That's what, yeah.
Is that the little asterisk I think now they've added to Veterans Day?
Yes, Randy Turco birthday observed. Yes. People are always like, aren't you going to take your birthday off? I'm like, no, man, if I could just make it through the day, I get tomorrow off for free. I don't have to take vacation time. I can just have tomorrow off. So yeah. I'll get whatever day of the week the 11th is. Thursday. I think Thursday's the 11th. There you go.
Yeah. You never know when it's going to fall on. If it does not have like one of those marked days, it's just like up in the air.
Random day off in the middle of the week, but I'll take it. It's free.
Yeah. You got to love random free days off.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you're going to experience AEW pay-per-view and Rampage. So back to back. That sounds fun.
Yeah, Rampage probably won't be as good as the Rampage I saw in Chicago when CM Punk came back after 7 years.
Well, that's hard to beat.
Right.
That's hard to beat. You can't expect them all to be that way.
But it'll be fun. And there's no way we could have a Rampage or a Dynamite and not go. So even though we knew we were getting the pay-per-view, that we were still going to go to Rampage, of course.
I mean, yeah, it's like going to WrestleMania, but not going to Monday Night Raw. I mean, come on, you're already there.
Right.
Yeah, come on, you're already there.
And I appreciate that AEW has 4 pay-per-views a year. I mean, they have some big dynamites and stuff, but
they only quarterly.
They only do quarterly, and I appreciate that they thought of Minneapolis, or they're going to at least try Minneapolis as an A city to get one of those 4 pay-per-views, because the WWE, they give us SmackDown, they give us random December throwaway pay-per-views. We've had TLC a bunch of times.
They canceled this year.
Yeah, we've had TLC. We had No Way Out once, but like they never give us a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania. We did a SummerSlam in 1999, but I mean nothing since.
What we discussed.
Yes, I would love if they gave us a chance to be an A city. I think they kind of consider us a B city, but of course we're going to be a B city when you only give us SmackDown and TLC. I mean, who's going to go to that every single time, you know?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with AEW, because apparently they like to keep close track on them, see how each one does. So if it pulls good numbers, you may get a pay-per-view next time.
Yeah, I follow that WrestleTix on Twitter, and they try to report stats on that, and it sounds like I don't think it's sold out, but I think it's like 90% sold out, and we've still got a couple weeks. So I'm hoping it.
Yeah, and you and your buddies, you know, you're responsible for almost all of that.
We're 20% of it, right?
Right.
Oh my God, I hope he sells those tickets, or otherwise we're screwed. Do you want to go?
Thank you for the offer, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, but looks like they're out. I think they're outselling McMahon in New York.
Right.
So
I think there's a lot of folks like us who are not. WWE does a lot of good things right now. It's not all bad, but I just think that there's a lot of folks like us who missed the Attitude Era and missed the 90s and early 2000s, and AEW is doing their best to bring that back without crossing the line. They're not going to get risque or anything crazy, but they're bringing the wrestling back, and they're bringing they're bringing some of the violence back. You know, some of the storytelling is back. And I think that's all some of the stuff that we watched tonight that we missed.
Yeah. I mean, I try to catch it almost every week, see what's going on. So it look, from what I've seen, it's pretty cool. You know, I like the characters, you know, that so many characters from the past WWE, you know, I'm familiar with, you know, like Punk and Oh, and Ross. You gotta love JR on commentary.
Right.
And I don't know who else they have on there, but those are main people I've seen. So I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, and they got their mix of new guys too. Like they're sprinkling in, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who's Luke Perry's son. Like,
yes,
but he's
a
legit good wrestler, and they're sprinkling their new guys. So they hook you in with the guys that you know from the past, but then you kind of stay for the guys that are the new guys that are young and up and coming too. So it's kind of cool how they hook you in like that.
Yeah, I know. I saw Pillman. Pillman's good.
Yeah, Pillman Jr. Yeah, I think he's only been in wrestling for like a couple of years. It's not been very long, but he's already on national TV, so he's doing something right.
Well, as I always say, the one thing McMahon's always done right is this guy right here, and that's what I stick with.
I see you're displaying him with the right head.
Of course, gotta have this head.
I don't think there's any other way. I know those other heads are older Undertaker.
One of them's good. If you want to display without the robe, the other head is good. One without the tongue out. That looks.
But why in the heck? And I know they just want to give you more bang for your buck and give you all the parts they can. But why in the heck would you display that without the robe? Why? What's the whole point?
Right. And why would you give the tongue? I had so much to say about that tongue scan. Oh.
Yeah, that Michael Jordan face, as they were calling it.
They should have just given him another head like this, but with the hair like how he used to have like one side.
Sure.
Because they do that with Charlotte. They did a Charlotte figure. Her hair is all on one side. Make it like the Undertaker. Undertaker has promo photos with the hair on the one side. Do that. No, give it the tongue out. I'm like, it's so cheap. It's not even true.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, that's definitely the way. The way you got that right there, that's the way I'll be displaying it.
You have to.
In February when I get mine, whenever that is.
He's in stock now at ringsidecollectibles.com.
Did you refresh my memory? Did you get Kane?
I did get Kane.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I figured why not? Get one Kane.
Did you? I assume you left him in the box?
Yes, I left him in the box right now.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll see how it goes. Maybe if they go drop the price a little, maybe get another one open.
Right.
Yeah. But let's see, I was mainly concerned about getting a good Undertaker box. So that's crossed off the checklist.
So it paid off. Yep. Yeah, I think Ringside usually does a pretty good job about shipping their stuff. They usually care.
Yeah. They're good. And of course, if anything's like terrible, like it's like totally like smash, they're good and making it right.
Right. I've never had an issue with them, like with my Undertaker as Kane, and that's something I wanted the box for, obviously.
Oh yeah, that you definitely need the box for.
Yeah, and mine was perfect. I've never had any issues with them. It's not like Walmart or Amazon where you just don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I wish they would actually have more of the Undertaker as Kane.
Right.
Yeah. That was a fun exclusive.
Yeah, I think I was late to the party to that, but I think I was maybe the second wave where they said they restocked it. And I thought, man, I better get on this. If I'm ever going to do it, I better get on this.
That's how I did. Yeah. I missed the first wave. They sold out so quick.
Sure. Should
have pre-ordered that, but no.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, well, that's a new figure. And I'm kind of collecting like the Hasbros and like the older stuff. Do I want to start collecting new stuff that's coming out now? And then I saw that figure and I thought, yeah, I should probably do that. So I got on board, but it was the second wave, but I got it.
Yeah.
But that's one of those ones where you like the Ghostbusters one I talk about with the ooze, the ectoplasma. Like you've got to keep that in the box for that.
You have to.
That's too pretty.
It is. Some boxes, I'm a mint on card collector, but some boxes, it's even if people are loose collectors, you have to just admire the box.
Right.
Like I talk about that 30th anniversary Taker. That's an amazing box to keep them in there.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you have that one in the box or you have that loose?
No, he's loose. He was in that purple box, right?
Yes, you should have kept him in the box.
Yeah, no, he's loose.
Such a nice box.
So is Decade of Destruction. I couldn't wait to get him because I bought that. I bought that Ringside Collectibles not Undertaker casket playset specifically for the Decade of Destruction Undertaker when he came out. So now in my detolf, the casket's open, and then the Undertaker's sitting up and looking like this way with his hat on.
Oh yeah, almost. There was I know there was like a trading card like that.
Yes.
With Paul Bearer next to him with the urn.
Yes.
Undertaker's in the casket looking.
Yeah, that's what was my inspiration for that. I
really?
thought
I remember that card.
Yeah, I was like, if that when that Decade of Destruction Undertaker comes out, I'm gonna have that ringside casket, and then I'm gonna have him sitting up in the casket, but looking at you, like he's doing that head thing that he does, where he sits up and then he does that, and then but the casket door, the lid would always want to shut on the Undertaker. So what I have him doing is with his other hand, that casket playset came with a shovel. So I put the C grip hand in, and he's holding the shovel and in the casket as he's looking, and the shovel is propping up the casket lid so it doesn't shut on the Undertaker. So he actually looks kind of cool in there holding his shovel and looking the other side while the
That's good. Yeah, I would
shovel holds the door open.
I would have suggested maybe get like a little riser, put the casket on the riser and have the lid fall down.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
If you wanted to do that, yeah. Because if you were gonna, maybe if you want, I don't know if you have a Paul Bearer figure, you could put that next to the casket and recreate the card.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about that. Yep. I've got a Jack's Paul Bearer. He's an old school Paul Bearer. Yeah. From like 2004, maybe. Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
See, we made an hour and a half episode out of a 12-minute match.
You know me, I came bearing
gifts.
Notes.
No.
I came bearing notes as always. I think I got through everything this time. But we'll have to do a poll. SmackDown and Sundown or the
Brahma Bulldozers.
Oh yes, the Brahma Bulldozers. We'll have to do a poll.
I will make sure when I put this episode up, I will add that poll. Oh my God. Well, as always, Randy, I cannot wait until we meet again a month from now to discuss Undertaker and Kane, their first tag team championship victory together as they defeat Edge and Christian on Monday Night Raw, as we are continuing our Monday Night Raw tradition. And then we'll just go from there. And then we'll end the year off right with SummerSlam 2001 and move on to Rob Van Dam and Vengeance 2001. So we have a full stack ahead of us. I can't wait to see the next match with him and Kane. And as always, I can't thank you enough for joining me here on this journey through Undertaker's Tag Team Championship victories.
Yeah, thanks. It's always good to be here. And it's weird to think that the next time we meet up, it'll be like circa November 20th. Maybe we'll start. They used to call Survivor Series the Thanksgiving night tradition. Yes. Maybe we'll have that pre-Thanksgiving tradition of always recording an episode, and we'll start next month with Raw in 2001.
Definitely. And since it's around Survivor Series, and definitely bring your Survivor Series memories of any Survivor Series either you've watched on pay-per-view or your favorite Survivor Series memories. It will make another hour and a half episode out of probably a 12-minute match.
There you go. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. And make sure to catch Randy as he joins Talking Taker next month. So they'll be talking about Escape the Undertaker, the Netflix interactive movie. So make sure to catch Randy in November's edition of Talking Taker. Follow him on Twitter at Pokey's Little Dog. Make sure to look for him at Full Gear and Rampage on his birthday weekend, and join us here next month as we take another trip through Death Valley with Undertaker's Tag Team Championship victory with Kane. And as always, creatures of the night, keep on rolling. Till next time. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Awesome.